Welcome in, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D tale. Session 79. Last we had left off, the Lucky Sevens had traveled through portals to a land unfamiliar to them. Blackened earth, blackened sky, a black tower looming in the distance, and ruins surrounding it. Traveling a little bit of a ways in these ruins, found another portal leading to an exit. This exit landed them in the midst of perhaps a collection of minds finding what to do next. These collections of minds happen to be cultists and monsters. After defeating the cultists and the largest of these monsters, they found themselves in the company of a woman named Miss Crumb, who led them to an inn that she ran, along with a couple of nobles from the neighboring countries. The Lucky Sevens turned in for the cold winter night ahead. And so, waking with the morning sun, low as it is in the sky, late as it feels, you are rested. And you have the amenities of an entire tavern at your disposal. So, Lucky Sevens, what do you do?
Well, I would think that the first point of order is to get a better understanding of the surroundings. I don't know about the rest of my compatriots, but I do end up knowing that I've never encountered this Shadahar before. So I'm in very unfamiliar territory. At the very least, the concept of a tavern still ends up existing on this side, so glad to know surface dwellers have something in perpetuity, or in perpetuity. So I am going to be mostly listening around for rumors, trying to end up gaining a better understanding of the layout of the land, what it is that we've encountered, and hopefully be able to end up ascertaining what the overall situation we may accidentally find ourselves in. If there's one thing the Lucky Sevens are renowned for, it's always ending up being at the wrong place at the worst possible time. So, better get ahead of that now.
Indeed. And when you look outside your bedroom window, for as far as the eye can see, snow. It's not coming down from the sky at this moment, thankfully, but it is cold. Even with the sun having just crested over the horizon, the sky is still somewhat gray. And in this part of the world, it is winter. So it is likely going to have very deep snow for a lot of the time. What you see peering out into the roads is sleds pulled by very strange creatures, not horses, not any kind of quadruped animal that you've seen in recent memory. They're strange to look at, but still seem to gallop along to pull sleds of both very, very large and very, very small, comparatively, creatures. You see tieflings, you see huge tieflings of a sort, You see creatures with wings flying in the distance, almost as large.
Does anybody know what is that? She ends up pointing to this large flying thing on the horizon.
Do we know?
Make a religion check.
Religion. Okay.
The other thing noticeable about as far as the eye could see is that every building seems to have a smokestack coming out of it.
19.
You've read some text before about the existence of devils and demons and what they kind of look like. In fact, what
Yes.
you fought yesterday, you recall that seems what you recall seems to come from a sort of demon variety.
We are. That's a demon? Maybe a devil? I'm uncertain to the category of its existence, and I don't really want to identify further.
A fiend of some
I'm sorry,
kind.
a demon? A devil?
Yes.
I believe our hostess called it a fiend.
The thing we fought yesterday
Mm-hmm.
was also
Yes, I know that we fought it yesterday, but what is it, and why is it that they are flying about?
Why does anything fly?
They're how to explain them? Lagan, you're the cleric. You should know how to explain this better.
They are demons, devils.
But how do you explain that to?
You know,
Last I
there.
checked. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Question, Alira. What do you know of the celestial beings? 1 minute, please.
I am going to end up needing to end up doing that as a check.
Yep, make a religion check.
Woo! It is not, I repeat, not a natural one. Woo!
Woohoo!
The other end of this,
Rolling hot. Rolling hot. Just
pardon
trying
me
to
for a
see.
minute. I've got to go check on something.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No problem. So what is that
It's
check?
taking forever to roll. This is a religion check. Religion is -1, so it's a 6.
You're aware of the concept, potentially, of the celestial, though you never really did a whole lot of reading into it. Not a whole lot of Lolth's actual scripture was preserved.
Well, doesn't help that I'm spending most of my time out in the woods, so scholarly pursuits are limited, to say the least.
Well, if I could try my hand at explaining it, I don't encounter them frequently. But last time I checked, there are divine beings, and then there are
The polar
unholy.
opposite.
Yeah.
That part I understand. What I mean is, for what I know, they should not be here.
Yeah, I could be
Yeah.
right about that, and I'm not really sure how to explain that one to you. Because last time I checked, normally they exist elsewhere. Deeper. Probably deeper than you.
Were we told how this happened? By Miss
Um,
Grump?
vaguely. She seemed to know of something, though.
That's nowhere on the menu.
And then, of course, tieflings have a certain history to them, as far as I know, but my understanding of that history is probably not culturally sensitive. They don't like to be called dragon eaters anymore. Sorry.
Understood. It still ends up leaving us a bit of a problem. Especially if we're going to be spending some time here until Professor Cypher ends up getting back. And at this point, I am noticing what I can only imagine is an incredibly densely populated area, requiring a lot of fuel and resources, smokestacks on top of every household, implying that there is a lot of wood cutting, coal farming, or charcoal creation. There is, if the merchants I ended up speaking had anything to do with or discussing it, then warmth seems to be at a premium, especially with the cold of the snow outside. Then there's... So, with that being out there, and something like that flying about, I have a really odd thought, but I'm not sure if Lyra can end up putting two and two together with the knowledge base she has. Oh, that's frustrating.
No, I'm going to allow you. If you're putting things together based on things that she knows, she would put it together.
No, she doesn't have the knowledge that I do. That's the key thing.
Oh.
Because of the roll, like if she rolled higher on the religion, I can end up making some educated guesses. But because she's not really aware of the difference between hell and the abyss, or the hells and the abyss, and realizing like this is kind of a piss poor temperature for them to exist in, probably implies something else that's allowing for the amount of heat that's required around here. And
She can make some assumptions based on what myth she does know about devils and demons.
She's aware that they're bad, in generally a bad thing. That is it. Because let's be honest here, I could have rolled a nat 1. Been par for the course.
I would say even with a 6, the most childhood education that she would have of such things would be fire. And so her assumption that this is bad weather might ring true. That is, if demons and devils are real, which they clearly seem to be.
If we ever need to warm up out there, conveniently, I do have, my own flame magic, so I suppose I'm not too out of touch here. Oh. Maybe we should find out what the specific laws are around here so we're not making any missteps. I mean...
That would probably be the smart idea.
Yeah, like seeing if anything's banned, like religion or something stupid like that again.
We should still have our cold weather clothes from Ionia, too.
Yep.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Arya just like shakes her little fluffy hood.
As I am out of my depth here as well, where would you suggest that we start?
Well, downstairs in the actual tavern might be a beginning.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And we'd also have to end up searching markets as place to end up seeing what's being consumed and where is it going. And you could see that Alira is kind of going into tracker mode. Like she's kind of treating this as though she's dealing with trying to find the illithid nests or something like that. So
No climbing tabards, got it.
no,
Please
you're
don't.
a stranger in a strange land. Stay in pairs at least.
Agreed.
Kaz pipes up. Kurobe and I'll stick together. If that's the case, then.
Crap. Sorry.
Even the upholstery is attacking our party.
Beware of mimics.
Hey, there's an entire town of those things, and I don't want to know what all of it is.
Well, I suppose I shall lead the charge then. Coffee. Arya's gonna go downstairs and start trying to like charismatically collect information, just starting up random conversations with people, getting engaged in like local gossip and things like that. To understand what the region is like as far as like culture, laws, what like the natural societal norms are, things like that.
Okay. So coming down to the tavern floor of the inn, it's very sparsely populated this early in the morning. There are a few patrons, some of which look very much like tieflings, and others look very much like the thing that Alira pointed out. And this room is big enough for each of them to sit comfortably, if a little squat for the very huge. But they seem to be having conversations with the staff. There's really only like 3 patrons at the table. So, if you would like to mingle with them and see what they would be willing to share with you, I would like you to make me a persuasion check. How long are you spending on this?
As long as I need to get all the information I want.
And how long is that?
It's probably like an hour or 2 of conversation. I'm pretty sure I could like if you, to my understanding of how conversations work, if you let someone bitch about their about anything that they feel like is a problem in society and life, they will go on as long as fucking possible.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So probably like an hour or 2 doing that.
Okay.
And
then
just like having drinks with them casually.
anyone else joining you? Lagan will also
Lagan.
join.
Vanya would, and would grant Arya bardic inspiration on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. How much is that? Is it D8?
A D8, I believe.
Yeah, it's a D8.
And also, I would say that's at advantage as well, since you are getting the help from the rest of your party too.
Alright. So first roll was a 12, bardic inspo was 4. Oh god, that one fell off. Hold on. That one is 11, so let's see, 12, 16 total. Oh wait,
16
hold on, plus
your
8.
charisma. Yep, plus your persuasion modifier. Yep.
That's,
16 plus 8 is 24.
Yes.
thank you.
All right. Arya, you saunter up. Instantly, they're enamored by you, because this is possibly the first human-ish humanoid that they've seen in a long time. The first thing that catches you as incredibly weird is you have nice, rosy skin. Which would obviously put you as weird. What you later find out from them is that their most common interactions with humanoids, primarily, is with those of vampiric nature. Very pale, sharp teeth.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Very hungry.
We haven't had. I guess this is where Arya learns that vampires are people too.
As if talking to Miss Crumb wasn't evidence enough.
Yeah, well, I wasn't there for that session, so.
And so they start to bitch and moan, like you said, about some vampire lord of the city who is making a fuss about one thing or another.
A fuss how?
Sorry, what?
A fuss how?
How?
What is the fuss? How is he antagonistic?
This lord has asserted himself in opposition to Mercury. Their their boss.
Hold on.
As leader of the city. Leader of the Shadowheart in general.
Okay. Having that Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man meme moment.
Yep.
Wait a second. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And who is this Mercury? What is she like?
Tough, but fair. They start to describe her as a person that they look up to who's taught them everything they know.
Is it a difference of ethics or legality? Ethics, morals, laws, some sort of financial or bureaucratic issue? What is their conflict? The core of their conflict?
Mostly political.
Political.
And the primary sort of conflict there is who is the rightful heir of the Shadowheart Empire.
Oh, it's a succession war. Oh my god.
Seeing as the last prince of the Shadowheart Empire died 100 years ago, they haven't had one since.
So has the city been just kind of in this constant civil conflict as a result, like the empire as a whole?
That's why the empire's more or less collapsed. Is it's all broken up into city-states that have rising conflicts between one another as to where the capital should be. This particular place is the standing capital, but others have claimed that the capital has since moved on to elsewhere in the tundra or elsewhere in the mountains.
I see.
Made it very easy for El Arzwa to regain their independence.
What is this? Okay, wow. What is the most recent major conflict that has happened in both the Empire and the city?
Most recent big conflict was just outside the city, in amidst the now frozen river, where the two factions went into an actual battle, turned it into a hot war.
So hot war just started. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's been Cold War for God knows how long, almost 100 years, and then recently it's transitioned over to hot war. Okay. That puts...
And anyone who looks like a human, they assume to be a vampire and normally would kill on sight, but you're cute.
Conveniently, I'm not a vampire. I'm just traveling. Thank
You
you.
came
I'm
to
glad
the
I got.
wrong city for tourism, kiddo.
We normally do that. We're normally in the worst place. I'm glad I have the exoticism factor for you.
I am so glad you picked the best vacation spots.
You are quite exotic, though. There's some kind of sense about you. You're not just any humanoid. You're not just any human, are you?
Well, I'm human enough.
Was it the eyes? It's always the eyes.
No, it's the
is it
actual
maybe
little halo wrapped around her head.
glowing tattoos and all that? Yeah, I get that a lot. Okay.
Cue Vanya moving in a little bit closer, maybe a little bit protectively.
Still going on some of the questions. Arya is just like completely sidetracking and it's like, no, I want more info.
No, continue, God touched.
It's terrifying. So the next, I suppose the next question is, what is this region's views on magic and religion? Because we've been through Ionia, we've been through, oh heck, Argyll, we've been through the Gregorian Empire, we've been through Ukt. We're travelers. We go far places. And we've seen a lot of different things and bylaws. We don't want to, disrespect anyone or conflict with any sort of specific societal expectations. Just want to pass through peacefully. As peacefully as one can.
Well, he gets up from his seat. He's very huge. Kind of a almost pig-like sort of body with big massive horns. Well, little one, you can worship whomever you like. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, you're lunch.
That's a wild thing to say. I'm sorry, but I'm taken.
And at that point, Vanya is going to move Arya behind her.
The Goliath will stand up and put himself in between the two.
I will say you are probably the tallest tiefling I've ever seen. The last tiefling I saw was... Wait, that's not my memory. Hold on.
But I am no tiefling, dearie.
Oh. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. That actually makes sense as to why you kind of picked up on the whole... Okay, alright, I see how this is. And, I'd like to use one of my paladin skills.
You would go for a very pretty penny back in Oiho.
Wow. I'm sure I could, but I'm a bit too expensive now.
Just don't get yourself wrapped up with any others. You're lucky that I have a respect for Miss Crumb and would not dare pick a fight with her guests in her establishment.
Oh, that's really good.
I like the qualification there.
Anywhere else, you're fair game, so watch your back.
Understood.
You'll have a hard time getting to her. Trust me.
Oh, you're easy, little elf.
Now, no reason to end up having hard feelings.
No, no hard
Being
feelings.
in Miss Com's establishment.
Just friendly little jabs. Besides, we've got places to be.
What about you? Where do you stand on this conflict?
If you really must know.
I must.
Vampire Lord's got a point. Mercury's a sad old bitch.
And Coffee, just to be clear, Mercury is the leader of the one we are currently in occupation. Not the capital they're trying to move out to in the mountains, correct?
Both factions are present here.
Yeah, but the core faction, Mercury's the side, believes to end moving to the mountains. Do I understand that correctly?
She's trying to establish power here.
Okay.
This is the old Shadowheart capital.
Yeah.
Which goes by many different names now. And a section of the city is vampiric in nature, and a section of the city is fiendish in nature. And they're kind of at war and have been trading loyalties back and forth between them too. So there's fiends who are on the vampire side and vampires who are on the fiend side.
So glad to end up knowing. Wow.
Doesn't matter anyway.
Why not?
Because you're all gonna get caught in the crossfire, and I would hate to see that.
Well, we fire back, so,
Well, I'm sure you can't take on both factions at once, so...
I'd rather not kill anyone that I don't have to.
That's the law of the land. You either kill or you'll be killed.
Wow.
If you really want the civilian's life, you'll stay out of the way. And they get up and they start to walk out of the establishment, leaving you all as the only patrons with the bartender.
I think that settles for a drink.
I concur, and Lagan will sit back down at the table.
I already have been drinking.
I want you to stay near me, Lagan.
What?
Oh, she was talking to Arya. And Alira.
Well,
I don't trust them.
I
Bartender starts to walk over from behind the bar with a few drinks. I'm sorry about them. They're a bit more of the rowdy type. This is a sort of bluish tiefling.
Grateful for your patronage as always. She ends up grabbing hold of her water, which she pays the same amount for as one would for a mead or something along those lines, as she's quite aware that most bartenders don't care to end up serving water, as it very rarely ends up turning a profit. She learned something from the surface dwellers.
Would you like breakfast?
yes, please.
That sounds wonderful before we set out into the streets.
Just keep your eyes around. They will attack out of nowhere when it comes to when it comes to vampires. So, if you look like a vampire, you act like a vampire, they'll treat you like a vampire.
How do vampires act?
Like normal.
Oh,
So we need to act highly suspiciously.
So
Yes.
we need to behave as we normally do instead of trying to pretend to fit in. Got it.
I really don't know you well enough to know the difference.
We are trying to be courteous. And as I said to your large patron that just walked out, I'd rather not kill anyone unless I absolutely have to, but we are prepared.
Well, I'll get breakfast started. Miss Crumb will be around later.
Thank you. Arya, perhaps you should be the one climbing the walls now.
oh, I'm sure there's a lot of ways I could do that.
I'm sure there are. But if we're not supposed to be trying to fit in, which really doesn't make sense to me.
It's a little topsy-turvy here.
I'm as much as Alira is out of her depth, so am I.
No. Me too.
Same here.
There's a
I am so
lot of
glad that we
things-
understand the circumstance.
We know nothing.
You hear footsteps coming down from upstairs. And there's a rather elegantly dressed elvish man with black hair coming down with a dwarf who's got sort of a red hair, red beard. The two that y'all rescued from the basement prior.
Ah.
Good morning.
Good morning to you too.
How did you do the rest?
Uneasily, but we will manage. Hopefully, you all slept very well.
About as well as can be.
This place is not exactly the political hub that I am used to. But perhaps that's indication of the goings on of this place.
I would not know what you're accustomed to.
Forgive me. My name is Alexander Tarasov. I am the Minister of Commerce of the Kingdom of Aslandia.
Slandia.
Yes. I am
Hmm.
rather far from my home, and I would rather much like to get back to it.
The biting chill doesn't serve you well.
No, I am a man of the desert.
I would be sure to stay close to your little friend and not go anywhere alone.
Hinar, I'm a little more accustomed to the cold myself, the dwarf says.
I too am much accustomed to the cold. Growing up on the tops of mountains,
Or
you
underneath them.
do what?
Or underneath them. I'm from Elatsua.
Ionia.
That's rather far.
Yes. As you've
100.
missed previous conversations, we are all travelers very far from home.
You know, it's we usually take the lightning rail to be able to make travels. At least way back in the day, when I wasn't being accosted by vampires. Still no idea what their aim was here. But I'd much rather get back to my own kingdom.
And where is your kingdom? I know he's from Aslandia, but you...
The royal kingdom of Denali in Elatua.
I see.
Oh, that's not too far of a trip, really.
Well, I'm in charge of the mining brigade, and I really ought to get back to my job. So if you're escorting, people back to their homes, I wouldn't mind.
Might cut some time off our own travel.
Well, the only lightning rails that actually work around here lately is the ones going from Denali to down south to Halton and then to the Greyhorn Empire. Everything else going out from this city out to the rest of the Shadihar, well, they're all defunct. They don't work anymore.
Any idea why?
Lots of people. Lots of workers. When you had an ice age about 100 years ago, the tundra just became that much more uninhabitable. We were near having to leave ourselves. Shadowhigh were expanding, annexing at that time, and well, that all went to shit. And now they're trying to put back the pieces together, but even that's kind of got things all in a stir. I don't exactly want to be here for it.
Can't say I blame you on that one. Well, how about it, guys? Why don't we take these guys home?
That probably is our best bet.
I say aye.
Well,
That's another country under our belt.
Well, then I suppose we need to end up procuring a sled.
the tricky part is going to be getting to the Lightning rail station. That's heavily guarded. No one leaves, no one gets in.
If the security is mundane, then it won't be a problem.
If you consider those giant blokes to be mundane.
What giant blocks are you referring to?
They're the ones that breathe fire, have fire axes, fire swords. The ones that are, much bigger than your lot.
So, more or less like the one we took out in the basement.
Oh yeah. Blokes like him. He'll be back, by the way. He's gonna go on revenge.
Of course he is.
Fiends don't exactly die lightly.
No, they die, but they come back.
Yeah. He's
That's
probably
okay.
gone back
You know,
to his bedroom back in Mercury's place and gone and had a fuck and is now on his way to come and destroy all of this.
Lagon. Question.
Yes.
If a fiend dies, but then they come back, where do they die to? Supposedly there's an afterlife for most mortals.
They go
So-
back to where they originated. They regain their powers, and then they come back.
Well, where they originated?
Coffee, with this world, how am I going to explain the alternate planes that don't exist?
What is hell?
So there is,
Are these like pocket worlds, like how we got here?
in a sense, yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Essentially, you know how we got here, right?
Yeah, there was that. There was that strange black space with the tower in the distance. We never
Okay.
looked at the tower, even though the tower looked great.
So imagine
Hold on.
that as a soap bubble encapsulating a world of its own. There are many of those. Fiends and demons come from another one of those places. When
I
they
remember
die
they
on
calling it Iho.
I don't know what you call it here.
Yuho?
Iho.
Yuho.
Oi ho.
Well,
Oi.
oi.
I?
That sounds like I apologize. That sounds like you're greeting someone that works the streets at night.
I'm sorry, it's the accent.
Well, no.
Ignore her. She's had a little too much to drink.
I don't think she's had enough yet.
Spectre
So
IRL
when-
is having a blast, but Arya is taking this full seriously. She's asking these questions seriously.
So when the fiend dies, it goes back to a place like where we came. It regains its strength, and then it comes back. And when it comes back, it's angry, it's pissed, and looking for revenge.
I guess that makes sense. Wow. Huh.
As you can see, the elf Alexander says, there's all the more reason for me to leave.
Yes, we will be doing what we can to help you.
Do you have a ship or some kind of transport that might be undetected?
What's a passport?
Transport.
Transport. I apologize. It sounded like you said passport.
It's my Icelandic accent. I do apologize.
How quickly are you trying to return?
Well, I certainly don't want my king to be worried any more than he has to be. And it might be time for our Icelandian Lordswell to create some kind of defense force against the Sedahar again.
Okay. So
I can find my way from the lawless.
Nice. Hmm. We have about a week, or is it? We're waiting on Cipher, right?
Hmm.
And
Usually
there's
it would take
no.
a couple days, at the very least, to get there.
We're looking at potentially a week of waiting. And I have no idea of how they're coming. So, you said you needed to get to Denali, right?
If you could get both of us there, yeah.
Where did the map go?
Oh, I switched
Oh, okay.
the roll 20.
Well,
No
we
worries, no worries.
have a few options. Well, none of us are necessarily proficient in teleportation. There is the option of just going by foot, though that is very dangerous apparently in this country. Um,
Well,
the
if we can
other,
get across the river, there's a mine
Yeah.
underneath the mountain that is
oh,
not very well traveled these nights or days, rather, but it's still used for the mining purposes. And if we can get to the entrance, that'll lead us straight to Denali, and we wouldn't have to worry about any kind of track down or nothing. Although the
think
mine does have its own set of traps and monsters and things.
oh well, I would rather deal with that than start a war crime.
Yes, let's not repeat any war crimes.
I
So just get
political
across the
situation
river,
now.
and
Political situation is. Oh, we're jumping the border.
hmm?
We're jumping the border. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting across the river. Where are you wanting to get across the river?
Well, it's all frozen, so walking over the ice should be relatively doable. However, if should the ice crack, well, it just might sweep your way out into the ocean. Is
I'm asking, where are you wanting to try and cross so that I can figure out how wide the distance for us to travel?
well, there's a
And
village directly across, and well, it's occupied, obviously, by one faction or another, but the shortest distance across the ice is getting there,
let's see.
and then moving on to the next rail station. The next rail station, we could get on the lightning rail, or we could go through the mines.
I think going through the mines would be easier.
It's longer because it takes on foot.
I understand that. But I believe
Maybe we should put some context. We are travelers. We are quite strange. There is a gentleman here, a very large gentleman, that kind of caught on to certain peculiarities of our troop. We, as a group, believe it might behoove us to avoid any conflicts. Take with the possibility of trying to take the rails.
It is the first.
particularly
of
with
who
you
we-
being told that you look like lunch, I would rather avoid as many of them as possible.
We just really
I
don't want to go
understand.
into a shakedown.
I
Yeah.
obviously understand. It is not the first
We can
time
handle.
that we've smuggled goods through the mines. So, to be fair, there have been a lot of people here in the Shadowha that have been struggling, and Elatz was not outside the realm of helping at this point. So if you need smuggled
So
in,
that's
where I can come in.
why you're here.
Yeah,
You were
typical.
caught.
Ah, well. The only thing
Trying
is,
to-
I worry. Because one of them did bite me back there.
Oh.
And I don't know how
Well-
that's going to affect me.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, to be fair, we also had another member of ours get bitten once by a vampire. Nothing seems to come up about it.
From what I understand, you have to die.
Oh. Well, he's fine then.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't die.
Everything dies.
Well, he's going to
He
get
might
back
have
up
old
again and
aged.
become a vampire and might have to, drink your blood to be able to sustain himself. At least that's what I've heard. Being a guest of Miss Criminal.
Ah.
Although her people are getting rather hungry too.
Out of curiosity, were you smuggling supplies for a specific site or just people?
I have no interest in their political squabbles between the two factions, my honest self. I'd rather just get people out.
You were smuggling people out.
Well, yeah, they can't stay. They'd end up food for the vampires, or they'd end up squashed meat for the demons. What do you think?
No. I'm not being judgmental or anything. It's more just I'm learning about the situation.
Usually the people we meet are doing the opposite.
No, there's people wanting to leave the Empire. They want to recreate the Empire.
We're usually running into people that want to smuggle things in, not out.
Ah, so you're those kind of travelers.
No. We just happen to meet them and, well, it's never been a good time.
Just unusual.
To be fair, it would be a very,
Pass.
very lucrative luciferase market. So if you really want to get into illicit substances, I might know a guy.
There's already a
that-
war issue
that-
going on.
that-
I don't think they need drugs on the streets.
That was not my
Matthew.
intent. I apologize if you misunderstood me. I was simply referring to the types of people we typically meet being on the other side of things than you. That was it. Not that we are into those things, not that we do those things.
You see that the elf has just kind of shook his head and kind of started looking at the ground, almost profusely.
I know, we look absolutely charming, don't we?
Matthew, I
I
don't
have a
think
negative
now is
one
the time
charisma.
to...
I'm playing that to the hilt.
Don't think now is the time to be thinking of lucrative business practices.
I don't think it is the time either, although war is quite lucrative. It's just we don't have any interest in engaging in it. Anyways, let's figure out the routes. We'll get the route done. We will cross the river at a good point and then go from there through the mine. As far as it goes as with any sort of protections necessary at the mine, I'm sure you can handle yourself quite effectively. Though we ourselves are also quite efficient at handling any sort of threats, so hopefully we can get through this. We're very good at managing crises, I think is a good way to put it. We're lucky. We're lucky.
But you also
Is-
said that you're waiting for someone to come and pick you up, is that correct?
We
The
can
elf
be
said-
very
It's easy enough to get a hold of him and change plans.
Yes.
I see.
The
How?
important part is we have a political leadership here, and he needs to be escorted to his rightful home. safely, properly, so that more complications don't transpire throughout this region or others.
Yes, I certainly don't want another attempt at annexation of my country.
So, looking to the dwarf, how long is it, this journey through the mine?
Alright, Alar. Given where we are, take maybe a day to cross the river, maybe a couple of days to get to the other train station, and maybe a week or more getting through the mines. It's a rather long and treacherous sort of ordeal, as we've done a lot of mining.
Okay.
You know,
Nothing we're not used to.
Oh,
I don't know, it goes for a pretty penny these days.
we do need to purchase some provisions for this track that we are contemplating undertaking.
Good luck.
Well, if that becomes an issue, I have ways of taking care of that.
What about going the way you came? How did you get here in the first place?
You really don't want to take that way. You would be way out of your way.
I don't
I
even know
promise.
if we can go back that way in the first place.
I don't either, but if we can get here, we could potentially get back, and with
I
what
just
we know of.
Not.
I didn't say I wanted to go, I said we could.
Long story short, magical fuckery. That is the best way to describe it.
That is the only way to describe it for us. And not a magic that we possess.
It's those goddamn cultists in there. They're rather
You know about those too.
They're rather obsessed with death, and I'm not exactly excited about such things.
Oh, you know about those too.
You have them too.
They're rather prevalent here in the Shadowheart, as most of the mortals that have not been displaced by our good friend Matthew here is that they have become the vampires of this entire land and have started to worship the god of death, the old god of death before Ouijas, or whatever the fuck her name was.
Ah. So,
This is a lot to take in.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to lash out. The subject of
So-
death gods is a very sensitive subject for me.
It is for us too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We've been working how long to take these guys out?
I raise my arm, and the black feathers kind of flutter.
His eyes immediately go to that book on your hip.
Yes,
Where did you get that?
it was given to me.
Alira.
yeah.
Have we been committing genocide? Have we been trying to exterminate an entire race or something? I thought we were just handling cultists. But it's aligned with an entire group of people? Like, just...
Are you
What's your take?
my take?
Yeah, what's your take?
My take, this exact moment, is that we are needing to end up arriving back. We have no ability to end up influencing much of Shadowheart, and if we do, then it ends up turning into a whole mess that perhaps we are not ready to end up contending with, nor understanding the long-term ramifications. nor do we have any particular interest in doing so at this exact time. We're far ways from home, and interacting here is going to end up simply getting us involved in further complexities. We haven't ended up finding any activity outside of speculation when it comes to understanding the cult and its location here, save for a smaller myriad of portions. As far as the cultists themselves, they have been an active threat since I have joined you. Now is a poor time for you to end up considering the ramifications of it now.
Okay, I'll take that.
And if I had to end up making a claim of it and expressing how to end up, or how far we are going to go, I'm fairly certain that you have never ended up exercising enough power, personally or systemically, to end up causing any particular issues of the sort. Unless they are an incredibly small amount of people brought about on their own particular whims, I don't think you've ever ended up bringing forth the full might of a entire industrial complex of any sort to end up bringing upon them. In which case, the closest you have arrived at is cold-blooded murder.
Yeah, okay.
Me going into it any further would simply be me expounding upon my own personal histories and that of my people. Since that is not a relevant portion of the conversation, I choose to withdraw from it. Instead, choose to end up listening to the two with the short one to end up understanding what exactly they're needing. I'm simply curious as to us having to cross a river, us having to end up entering a mine, and seeing if there is anything else that we can end up doing there henceforth. As far as I know, we are in a continent with things that either want to maim us, torture us, or eat us. And that is if we are incredibly fortunate. And the unfortunate part is we are named the Lucky Sevens.
In our case, it may be torture, maim, and eat us. Oh, sorry.
Don't listen in! Don't listen in! We're not having this conversation. And this entire time, Arya is just like whispering with Alira. Okay,
So,
I'm happy with this. Okay.
we cross the river, we end up getting these two out. To what ends and why? Beyond the coin.
Get a political leader back to his home country because we don't want any particular warfare to spread into conquest, I guess. I'm not sure what the technical ramifications would be if the war spread on to your country, sir. Or necessarily what the political intents are behind that. All I know is that we've already agreed.
Since the Lucky Sevens have agreed to end up doing so, I will acquiesce to end up doing so. Though it does make me wonder as to a little bit more or make me wonder a little bit more as to our present circumstance and location. It's fascinating. And she stops for a moment. But instead, we will venture into the mines rather than the blinding snow. I suppose at this point it matters not more for us to know anything other than perhaps a layout if it's understood, but I suspect that they know little more than we do. So I suppose now is the time for preparation.
All right. Let's get started then.
Meanwhile, back at Lagan,
It was a gift.
a gift. From whom?
I shake my arm again. And you see the black feathers that are integrated into my armor.
Black feathers. Because I recognize that handwriting, sir.
Did you... How old are you? I apologize. I know it's a very rude question, but
546.
given the information I have, would have been alive to potentially meet the author.
Potentially.
What in particular, besides recognizing a handwriting, intrigues you by my book?
Because I believe that was my daughter's book. Have you seen
Your,
her?
your daughter was Celine?
Yes. Her name was Celine. And I have not seen her in over 100 years.
Come with me. And Lagan's going to return back upstairs to the room. He's not going to sit here at the table where anybody can walk in and just see this.
Okay. He follows you up to your room.
Come in. And please, make yourself comfortable.
He takes a seat down. He looks rather nervous.
He takes the book out and he sets it down. This was a gift from the Raven Queen.
The Raven Queen.
It came with such pretty armor, don't you think?
Yes. So the Raven Queen has my daughter.
I cannot tell you. I do not know. What I do know is when I got the armor, I got the book as well. It has been invaluable to me. She was a remarkable researcher. She had many interests, and he will start showing parts of the book if there's anything that can be read by this man. She was a gifted surgeon. Her notes and research have been truly the only reason some of us are even.
Good. Good.
Where she is, I do not know. I don't have those answers. What I do know is that I am taking what I was given and doing the best I can with it. Now, if you have issues with these cultists, this has been something we have been tracking from the start of our journey across many continents. And I was told to follow the cultists, and now I am here.
Then I will do what I can to assist you.
I will do everything I can in my power to ensure you return home safely. In honor of your daughter.
Yes.
He extends his hand.
And you see that there's a tear that kind of falls down his cheek as he takes her hand and just squeezes it.
When he sees the hand, he moves his hand more up to the forearm and then pulls him in and hugs him. He doesn't say anything. He just hugs him. I think we should return to our traveling companions now. Take whatever time you need. Refresh yourself, wash your face. There's water facilities available. I am going to return to our friends downstairs. Take whatever time you have. And Lagan's going to step outside, and he's not actually going back down. He's going to wait, because he's not leaving this man alone. But he will step outside of the room and give him some time to do whatever he needs to recover.
Make a perception check. Primarily listening.
Perception. 24.
You hear him, because you left the book in the room, right?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I did not leave the book in the room.
Okay. Just wanted to make that clear.
No. When I said we needed to return, Lagan would have closed it and put it back.
Okay.
No. Because he doesn't know if somebody else reads this for the specified amount of time, if his abilities goes away, or
No, I understand.
he doesn't understand that, and he doesn't want to play with that.
No, yeah.
He doesn't want to give anybody that opportunity.
What you overhear is a man just whisper, "I'm sorry." A few sniffles. Him going to the wash basin to clean off his face. A couple more sniffles. A rather deep breath before the footsteps towards the door, and he walks out. Thank you.
You are very welcome. As I said before we came up here, do not go anywhere alone.
No.
I'm sure you know more than we, but my lovely little friend drew too much attention in being informed that she could potentially become lunch or any other meal for one of these things. No one.
As could all of us.
They seem to be particularly drawn to her.
She is strange. I will give her that.
We are strange, sir.
There's a rather strange aura about her, and I do not know what it is. But I am not magically inclined, nor am I very knowledgeable about such things. That is something that Celine was far more talented in than I.
I have a deal for the time that you are with us at each night's rest. I will give you 1 hour with the book. If you leave, I will hunt you down. If you do anything to attempt to destroy the book, there will be serious repercussions.
I wouldn't dare. That is the last remnants that I have of my daughter. I would not. Not when I have been so cruel. And never got the chance to say what I needed to say.
But as I said, in honor of your daughter, as long as you accompany us each night when we rest, I will give you 1 hour.
Agreed.
Now, I think we should return to our breakfast, finish whatever other necessities that are needed, and get on our way.
That we should. We should not linger.
Agreed. When Lagan will begin walking back down the stairs.
And so will Alexander. And that's when Alira, Arya, and Vanya would have noticed that Lagan and this elfish gentleman had walked away, as they are now coming back.
Okay.
At this point, I'm not going to question it.
I have many questions. Very few of them relevant to the exact situation we find ourselves in now.
I second you on that.
As for
Alright.
the reward that you would be able to claim as soon as we are home safely, or at least myself and my companion are back to Elarthra, I can promise you Aslandia will pay you very handsomely. As the kings of both of our lands would likely like to see us return very, very quickly. As quick as we can, anyway. Says the dwarf man.
Do either of you have a map of Shadowhar?
It is not a well-mapped region anymore. However, some old maps have been quite useful. and Alexander will pull out a rather small sort of map. It looks like it was hand drawn probably a while ago, as the country borders like this don't exist anymore.
Okay, that's a start at least.
The geography is still the same. We would be crossing the river here, and he would show you where the city you're in, directly across, there's a village and a road, and that road leads to another larger city that could pose a problem, but the entrance of the mine is inside the city. When Matthew looks at it himself, and that the mine kind of snakes under the mountain, the Alartsua Mountains, and leads directly to the city of Denales, which is a huge dwarven underground city.
Or at least we know that we're out.
Any provisions that are necessary for the trip should be gathered, and we should make haste.
Yeah.
Both Matthew and Alexander both nod.
I'll get a hold of Cypher and let him know our plan has changed a little bit. Let him know where we're headed.
This is the
Look-
friend who was supposed to pick you up, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Lagan leans down and whispers, "You might tell him that we have Celine's father with us as well, and that is whom we are escorting."
Will do.
I appreciate it. Now, coin is not necessarily our most problematic thing. I believe our most problematic thing is procuring the supplies necessary for this week-long trip.
Well, you have climbing supplies, and when was the last time that you restocked on food? I think it was before this trip, wasn't it? You were restocking on food for the sail from Colcaster to Drakefast before.
Yeah, and I believe that was left on the ship.
The ship is
Yes.
stocked still at Colcaster.
Yeah.
All of our supplies that are not on us are on the ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing on us is going to be the bag of holding and
Whatever
the
in
other
it.
bag.
And whatever's in Kurobe's chest, which he carries around all the time.
Yeah.
To be fair, Kurobe's chest is, I think, something. Is that similar to a bag of holding where it doesn't encumber him, or?
I think it was. You'd have to clear that with.
I don't remember.
I don't
recall.
I don't.
I don't remember.
Because if it wasn't,
All I know is it keeps provisions cold.
No, that's the bag
Yeah.
of holding.
Oh, but that was. We'll figure it out.
I
If
got
there
the
were-
bag of holding. I carried the weapons and stuff.
Yeah, and he carries the
Yeah,
cold
yeah.
food. So,
Yeah.
in that case, if it's more like it's a bag that keeps things cold, because it's a smaller bag than a bag of holding would be.
Yeah. It's more like a handy haversack.
Yeah. So, yeah, that he'd probably have on his person, because that never weighs more than 5 pounds. Also.
Right.
Yeah.
And
now that you're
believe
kind of
the last-
thinking about pocket dimensions and things like that, you kind of wonder, are we actually storing this in an ice-cold realm, or are we storing this in some kind of... something to
I've
twist
been
your brain
thinking
about.
that since we got these bags. I've been thinking about that since we first found these bags. Are we just storing this in somebody else's living room?
Domain.
Yeah.
Anytime you reach your hand in, it's
Out
untouched.
whatever we need, they come by and they look and they're like, "Oh shit, where did this come from?" They come by and 2 minutes later, where did it go?
Who knows?
But
All you
we
know is
do
that when
have
you reach your
enough
hand
gold.
in, everything is exactly
We do
as
have
it
enough
is.
gold to get provisions if needed, so.
Okay.
The last time we resupplied was before we took our trip to Upt.
Okay, so it has been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about time to restock anyway. In that particular case, Matthew, the dwarf, will pipe up and say that he's got some contacts in the city that he might be able to procure some of this from. It's going to take him a little time.
All right.
Let's
As he
see.
does
in
have
the-
to sneak around the place sneakily and not get caught.
If you don't mind a tag along, I can help you out with the sneaking.
Hmm. You know, never been that great at it myself. However, my contacts don't like other people, like be just having other people around, so I might have to pass. Vanya, make a
Fair enough.
persuasion check.
Okay. Da. 22.
You know, this is more important than than anything right now. And I think, yeah, no, I do need your help. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to make it back with just my hands anyway, because we're given how much we're going to need.
Oh, this ranger is happy to help.
And you said you got a bag to store provisions in there.
Mm-hmm.
Saves having to cart it around.
Easier than
Kurobe.
Lyra seems suddenly depressed at the mention of the word cart.
Oh.
We'll
Kurobe,
find a way to get you a cart
give
again.
Vanya her provisions. What little
Yeah.
is left.
And you get the bag from Kurobe.
All right. Keep everyone else safe. Especially Arya, who apparently likes to draw attention to herself.
In my defense, I'm not trying to this time.
But you still end up doing so, love.
You never are. You just have that quality, demons. Can't
Guess you
get
could say I
enough of.
have an aura.
What did he say it was?
Yeah.
God touched.
Something like that, I think.
God touched.
Yeah.
I've been literally touched and slapped in the back by a god. I think that qualifies, right?
You've been
I would say
touched
so.
by a god, but I don't think that was the touch they were referring to.
Something, God blessed, something.
It depends, I guess, on the god. I'm unfamiliar with who touched you.
It wasn't like that.
But I don't know if they hit you hard enough to knock you down. There was something they didn't like potentially.
Well, I'm not dead yet, so
Yeah, being the operative word. Let's try to keep it that way.
exactly.
Well, if you're ready to go. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we can get out of the city.
Yes.
And now I'm ready to leave. So let's go.
Alright. And Vanya will use Pass Without Trace on her, Matthew, and Zephyr.
Okay. I would like you to make a stealth check then, because he will as well, and for Zephyr.
Yep.
We're just gonna make a quick
You
roll.
get the plus 10. Just to remind you.
Yep.
Vanya has...
Oh,
What do you
good
get?
job, Matthew. He got a natural 20.
Good job. Vanya has 29.
Also, if he didn't properly introduce himself, his name is Matthew Clark.
And Zephyr rolled a nat 20 because Zephyr.
Yes, buddy. All right, easy peasy. He gets in contact with his contacts in the city, who turn out to be regular old people, peasants, just trying to make it by, just trying to stay out of harm's way and stay out of sight. But his contact seems to be part of this whole smuggling ring to get people out of the Shadowheart Empire, or what's left of it. And he procures enough food for the trip, since there's enough to go into since it doesn't add any extra weight to the bag of holding, then there's he gets enough to last the full week trip. It might be a little scarce, a little bit on the one meal a day side of things, so not the 3 meals that you're used to at the moment, but it would be enough to get you across. And he informs you that once you get there, he'll get a full, absolutely lavish Denali's meal as soon as they get home. And so he pays the gold for the supplies, and you are able to make it safely back with sight unseen, as nothing seems to be bothered by your presence at all. You keep to the shadows, you keep underground, you take advantage of the fact that the bright light in this particular region isn't so bright because of the fact that you're in a tundra region. And so,
Sneaky elf be sneaky.
sneaky elf be sneaky, sneaky dwarf be sneaky. And so you make it back to your companions at Miss Crumb's Inn without any issues. What about the rest of you? What are you doing while Matthew Clark, the mining brigade president, is off with Vanya to go and procure supplies?
I'm going to wait for someone else to announce what they're going to do, and I'm going to help them because I am not the prep person. I am the shoot things person.
That's true.
I'm not preparing, but to honor the promise that I made to Alexander, I will take him to my room and give him an hour with the book now.
Okay.
While they're
He spends most of that hour just kind of flipping through pages just to see how much of it is documented, how much is documented in this book. And he's very taken aback by some of the rather accurate illustrations of a particular tiefling.
yeah. Seeing that page, you may learn a bit more about your daughter than you ever wanted.
Perhaps. He kind of gets a little somber for a moment while you're there. Just kind of, after he's kind of flipped through the whole thing, just kind of goes back to the front of the book and goes to reading what's been written. She was brilliant.
And detailed.
Obviously.
As I said, her research has been invaluable to me and to my companions.
I'm glad. I am very glad. I do wonder if she's out there somewhere, making a life for herself.
There is no way to truly know. I do hope that if she is, you'll find her. If not in this world, the next.
It'll be a long time before I go on to the next world on my own. I'm getting on in years, but the longevity of elves.
You have many more annuals ahead than behind.
Indeed. Unless something truly disastrous were to happen, and then I would be shit out of luck.
Well, I can tell you, it's very easy to find that other circumstance. Unfortunately, I can't save everyone.
No, we can't.
And while he's reading the book, Lagon's going to sit down and meditate, focusing on, is this what they meant when they both told him, follow the cultists? Is this where he's supposed to be?
Roll a religion check.
Natural 20
Oh!
for a 20.
Thinking about it, you're not sure if the gods have ever showed you some kind of omnipotence or some kind of all-knowingness. The Wild
No,
Mothers never seemed like the all-knowing type. Insightful, maybe.
right.
Motherly, maybe. But
Yes.
all-knowing? Maybe not. But that's not who you feel that sort of moment come from. It's the Raven Queen. Not what she intended. She's not all-knowing either.
Right.
Certainly not a bad outcome.
But now, thinking on those thoughts, we potentially know how they're getting around unseen through this other place. And that there is a large group of vampires in the Shadowheart Empire pushing this forward. By the name of Mercury?
The vampire's not named Mercury. She's the fiend.
She's the fiend, but the contingent of vampires under her are the group in this cult. Is that our understanding, or did I
That
miss
is,
something?
yes, that is a conclusion that you can come to. It's
Okay.
It's not a wrong conclusion.
It's not necessarily the right one either. I'm just saying, given that's the way this seems to be going.
Would you get the distinct sense that there is still work to be done here?
You know, a daylight spell in the capital that covers the entire area would be truly detrimental. And as he's meditating, Alexander may hear him mumble those exact words.
What was it again? Because your mumble kind of didn't come in clearly for me.
I apologize. A large daylight spell that covers the entire area for about 48 hours would be truly detrimental to most vampires. As he's having these thoughts from the Raven Queen coming in and going over everything that they've just done, I'd actually just mumble and mutter those words. Alexander may hear, may not. I don't know. Depends on his perception, and he's not trying to hide it.
You've heard it go both ways. According to the research that you've done in the book, some vampires are not affected by daylight.
Right.
Some are. It just depends what you're dealing with.
The ones we've been dealing with have.
They're distinct, separate kinds.
And I'm learning that through the book.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to learn more about the ones that can walk in the daylight. If he gets far enough into the book, well, after about an hour, Lagan would finish up, and it's time to return to our companions, Alexander.
Indeed. And he obviously hands the book back to you.
Thank you. And he puts it back on his pouch, on his belt, where he normally keeps it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then pulls his cloak around. If anybody else were to recognize this, there's going to be more issues, and yeah, that this is a holy symbol, and I don't know that Alexander understands that, but the fiends and the demons might. We may have more problems.
We'll see. We'll have to see. What about Arya and Alira? What are y'all up to?
Hooking arms with Alira and helping her with anything she thinks she can do. I have nothing. I don't even know what it is that I could do in this situation. I'm just ready to go, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Alira at this point would probably be more or less trying to end up again, kind of like what they did in the tavern, except not quite as boastful and not quite trying to draw as much attention. As this is a city, I'm expecting him markets and what have you, with all the chimneys that are showcasing. I'm expecting a lot of firewood or something of the like, but I'm curious as to what they end up bartering in, and maybe end up listening for what is going on in the markets, or perhaps we are about to end up witnessing something else. Never ended up expecting to have to be in a market filled with demons, devils, tieflings, and the undead. But I'm not here to end up causing a fuss. I'm simply observing.
Okay.
Perhaps I will end up trading with the one of the more vampiric elements, as to, if I recall what Miss Crumb ended up saying earlier, it would seem that most just presume that we are of a vampiric nature. And that unto itself gives us the guise. The irony of this being typically you would expect the inverse. A vampire would have to end up hiding amongst itself amongst a human population, or a humanoid population. And in that same vein, I imagine none of them would consider a mortal to be walking amongst them. The parallel is incredibly odd.
So, you make your way towards one of these market stalls. Obviously, there's meats and things all for sale at this particular little meat market. There's also uh, elements of like fire keeping, like firewood, like coal, like some arcane sources. Then this individual is rather boisterous, kind of barkers you over in order to try and sell you something. Yes, dear, what can I do for you? What is your flavor? Is your flavor that of the ox, that of the sheep, that of the human?
Oh,
Maybe tiefling is more your taste. Or perhaps
you serve
devil.
tiefling.
I do.
He says, she's actually like curious. How do you manage to? You said you acquired human tiefling. I can understand. She looks about, as we have seen tieflings walking about. If I recall, what you described.
Yep.
But you haven't described human. So do you keep a stock of tieflings?
Yes.
And human, where do you end up acquiring those? I haven't seen one in several days.
Ah, yes, they are an exotic in this particular region. Again, as you are well aware, our stock of humans is rather light, but I happen to have the connections to be able to get the meat and blood imported on the regular.
Important. Pardon the servant. Still unaccustomed to the market. Now, you ended up here stating that you ended up here serving human. I am not interested in here grabbing anything bottled. I have a journey ahead of me and will end up acquiring fresh stock throughout. Which ends up being...
Fresh
So
stock,
I will...
sadly, has all been butchered.
Where would I go about in acquiring fresh stock?
A good tradesman does not share his secrets, my dear.
No, but a good tradesman also knows where a coin is to be found. She places the coin down and slides it forward. And she'll look down at the coin, making sure that he sees it. Probably not one that he's seen from around. As I said, I travel far.
He kind of twirls it in his fingers. Rather exotic coin, this. Where is it from?
Across the ocean. And I would
You
think
are
that
a strange colored elf.
There's a lot of strange colors to be seen and tastes to be had.
Of course.
But I need something that's going to end up lasting through the journey. And for as much as I am sure that your bottling process is able to maintain for a portion of the journey, should the worst come to worse, and it does happen, I am going to end up requiring a living vessel for that prolonged period of time. While your stock has been butchered, much to my lament,
No.
I am sure an enterprising individual such as yourself, Mr.
Zarex.
Mr. Zarex. Mr. Zarex. Alira from across the ocean. And as such, I am going to end up needing that sort of stock in trade. Now, that being said, there are certain wonders I can end up giving you to end up appropriating in a certain venture. one that I think you would appreciate, especially given the fact that you're willing to end up selling human blood. You already said an exotic ware, so I already know you will have a taste for the finer things. Or did I misjudge?
No, no. I'm just reluctant to share my sources. As
I need 2 for the journey. You need not give me the sources, but I do require at least 2 vassals.
2
Minimum.
done.
Make, model, and age. Of course, they need to be hardy enough to withstand the journey. I don't need one perishing on me a little more than a week after we leave port.
No, I will secure young adults.
Excellent. A female, preferably.
You have a preference?
Don't we all?
To a degree. Alright. 2 females. Young adult.
I'll be back within an hour to end up picking them up.
Ah, but I'm gonna need longer than that.
We set out next evening,
Then
and I
Saturday.
am willing to spend coin to make it happen. How much, I guess, is depending on your convenience. But a down payment, I'm sure, is appreciated. She plops down a few more coin.
2,000 gold. I can have it tonight.
1,500 2 females, and you end up getting the first pick of my wares when I get back.
What do you wear?
Giant.
Giant. Giants don't exist, my dear. Giant
And neither
kin,
do we.
maybe.
And where do you think they went? Because we have, in fact, seen giants. I know they're not fictional.
Where have you seen giants? I don't know.
Is that not what we ended up encountering as soon as we end up leaving the cave? I'm pretty sure we end up encountering a giant.
No, you haven't encountered a giant. You've encountered huge monstrosities and demons and things. But an actual giant.
Funny. Sorry, then I misspoke. Because I am trying to stay within the realm of truth. So, I mean, if I may. Giantkin, along with flavor of elves that I'm sure you've never experienced before.
So long as they're not Icelandic, they're rather boring.
Do I look boring to you?
Well, no.
All had to
You
come from
look-
somewhere.
Actually, you look rather exotic yourself. What about one of your kind?
I can get you a sampling, a taster, within the start of the next evening. How's it? How's that for a deal? The sampler and the first pick of my wares, 1,750 coin.
You still haven't actually said what you deal in.
Oh, a little bit of this, little bit of that. Even have a displacer beast upon our ship. What I end up dealing with is lives.
I could always use another contact in that realm.
Then, I'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow evening, then. We will exchange all goods tomorrow. And coin.
And when I get back from my trip, Mr. Isaiah
Xerax.
wanted to say Xerax. Mr. Xerax, I will be sure to end up here commandeering you to end up getting first dibs on the wares that I end up bringing forth from foreign lands.
Tomorrow evening. Here at my stall.
I look forward to it.
Have a fantastic evening, darling.
And come, servant.
I stay at the side quietly, confused.
Well, cost a bit, but it'll end up getting us what we need.
Zach.
What?
Zach, what did you just...
We needed information. We needed information to end up knowing here what we were here contending with. We need to end up knowing not only how they feed, but what has been going on. They have individuals who are within their capability, livestock, as they end up placing it, end up wishing to end up trading it for coin. Allows us a little bit of insider information, as well as being able to estimate what their actual capabilities are. Plus, I would think that a few thousand coin without having to cause a whole massacre might end up being able to get us out of a hairy situation, given our earlier portions. And you get to end up saying you saved a few lives. All without spilling a single drop of blood. Did I do something wrong?
No, you did a lot of things right. A lot right. I'm just...
You seem unsettled. I'm insight checking that.
Deception check there, Arya.
I mean, there is no deception check. She just is like, I don't know how I could have done that.
Okay, well then.
Oh, okay.
Persuasion.
Well, I'll be grateful then because I rolled a 5.
It's very hard on her sleeve about it, like...
Oh.
She's already discussed with Alira about the fact that basically all she knows is to blow shit up.
I'm sorry, you seem disappointed.
More so in myself than anything else.
Why?
Because I just couldn't do that. Not really.
Nonsense. You have an air of grace and civility about you when not in the crow's nest. Or in your crow's nest.
No. It's not really the moment to be humble or anything, Lyra. Thank you. Sincerely.
Just so long as you don't ask why, I am comfortable in trading as such.
I'm not going to.
You can pull the coin from my portion of the findings when we get back. I imagine the dragons, the remains that we picked up, would be quite fetching for coinage if when we end up selling them as well. Given the fact that, if I recall, we did rummage the bone dragon that we ended up bringing across earlier. So. Now I just have to bleed myself. Keep it discreet. Do we have a bottle of some such to end up doing? Well, I guess we'll find out. The man asked for a taster. He's going to expect a drink over the deal.
Oh. Oh. Oh dear.
He wishes to sample the vintage. Let's just hope that I make for a fine one.
Well, at the very least, let me make sure that you're cared for after.
Your concern's appreciated. You see her have more of a somber look. A little bit of sadness and seriousness. Or maybe just more of an embarrassment to not say much else. Though you can clearly see her eyes going about trying to observe what she can. Given the overshadowed nature of this, probably the first time she's walked amongst the streets and not felt her eyes strained, I imagine. Something she shares in common with these creatures of the dark.
I don't really have a comment after that.
Sorry.
No?
And I guess we go and prepare to end up going to pick up our pairing for the journey ahead. That is the rations that is part of an unexpected set of rations.
Okay. You all come back together at the tavern. Your companions all together with you. With Alexander and Matthew also. So, are we living in first light then?
Not quite. We have a pickup we have to end up doing first.
A pickup? That wasn't in the schedule.
You're going to need information about what you are contending with. Yes?
I mean, it would be nice.
And if you want that, you're going to need to wait, and you will have not one but two people to end up fostering that information from.
Excellent.
Alright. Any kind of information we can get is going to be valuable to Eliza. Might give us a chance at actually, figuring out what the Shadowhawk are going to do. Depending on which portion of them you can even call the Shadowhawk anymore.
Well, part of it is for you to end up understanding their networks for feeding. Army marches on its stomach, after all.
That is true.
And you're about to get a very good insight on that.
Alright.
Well, I think that's what we're waiting for.
Pick up it is.
Um, Besides, I'm sure you're not the only ones who want out of this abyss-soaked this, location.
It is a rather dark turn of events, that's for sure. Well, alright, so when did you pick up?
Tomorrow, when we end up here, I'm to end up approaching the stall to end up picking up our rations for a very long journey. 2 vessels. Two of which should be hardy enough to end up surviving a very long journey. It'll cost some coin, which I'm sure we'll be reimbursed for the information.
Like I said, Denalius is not going to smile shortly. Smile brightly at you when it comes to returning all of us alive.
I'm playing a very dangerous game on your behalf. I'm hoping it'll be worth it.
As president of the mining brigade, I can promise you that if it has to, it will come out of the brigade's pockets itself.
It's not the coin that I'm more concerned with. But that's a detail we'll have to discuss upon the road.
Alright. Then, noonday then.
Would that give me enough time then to do that whole pickup and what have you?
Yeah, it's a couple hours between sunrise and noon.
Okay. Just wanted to end up making sure. If all things are delivered, we have the coin. We can end up doing so. And we've been promised for reimbursement when we end up getting through this. So that should be good. And now I just got to end up bleeding some HP into a goddamn cork bottle.
Alright. Anyone else before the night is out?
I believe at this point... No, I don't think if nothing else happens, if it goes through smoothly, because logistically we're good.
Yep.
Then
you're in a safe
don't
place.
See any...
Miss Crumb is around if you want to ask her questions.
Yeah.
As she has gotten up in the afternoon and about.
God damn it! Why can I not keep that merchant's name in my head? Oh,
Zarex?
Zarex.
I'm remembering it more than you did, and I came up with it.
Oh yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad. How do I not remember that?
And I came up with it on the fly,
I will,
man.
Yeah. I will end up talking to Miss Kwon.
Oh, we will,
Miss
right?
Kwon. Better memory than I. I had a conversation with a shopkeeper named Zarex earlier this evening.
Oh. Zarex is strange. Tief Wayne made vampire.
And a fan of the exotic. Even so far as to brag that he has human on the menu.
Doesn't surprise me. He's more of the kind to take advantage of a terrible situation rather than help his fellow vampires maybe get... He's more concerned with coin than he is with maybe philanthropic. pursuits?
Perhaps. I know that one very well. I need to know how to preserve a vial of, or a taster of blood. Do you have such knowledge available to you?
Preserving blood.
Enough to end up getting through to tomorrow.
For
As
one day, it's a precise process, but simple enough to learn.
Do you know it?
I do.
Then I will require your services. As part of the bargain is a sampling of Drow. And I would rather not have myself anywhere near his fangs. He's under the mistaken impression that I am a vampire.
I'm surprised he didn't smell wife on you already. Or maybe he's playing along.
Maybe. Maybe he's just very, very interested in the coin. And the potential pursuit of others.
Perhaps. But if you want an exotic meal, and you give him a taste, and he wants more, whether you're a vampire or not, he might attack you. Unless that's what you're hoping for.
Oh. I don't think he will. Like you said, he's interested in coin.
Or that which can bring him coin.
True. But he'd have to end up considering the fact that the stock he wants to sell is already bought and paid for. And I'm sure the Lucky Sevens would have an issue with him raiding them of their stock.
So, if you're wanting to provide a sample of yourself, I will not bite you, but it will hurt.
It won't hurt more than what I've already had to do this night.
I will get my instruments.
Quickly, before I lose my nerve.
And she goes towards her own room at the tavern. She goes into her room. You hear the opening and closing of some drawers. And
I'll insist that this is done in a private location. No sense everybody knowing what we're up to.
okay. So you join her in her room. She opens up a drawer, pulls out a few instruments, a second drawer, and pulls out a couple of vials. And it kind of looks like a very opaque sort of black silk bag. Small. And she sets them all onto the sort of armoire that she's kind of set everything on, and she goes over to the wash basin and washes her hands before taking what looks like a rather long needle and has that kind of set next to her. Sit down, please.
She does.
This might make you dizzy, so be comfortable.
Thank you. She sits. Tell me, is it true that vampires still fear sunlight?
Some do. Some
Does he count? Yeah, go ahead.
Does he count? I believe Zawix is immune to the effects of sunlight. However, I have known him to avoid the river. Strong or so as he might be, he is a bit of a chicken when it comes to water. He can't swim.
I imagine most don't.
And that's when you feel the prick into your arm. Try to relax. And out of that needle goes the blood into and starts filling a vial.
Thank you for your service, Miss Quam.
I will admit, you do smell exotic.
That's the hope. I know how much flesh goes for. And I'm no stranger for bartering for it.
Your people deal with what in its waiting of lives?
Not anymore. But beforehand, my house was built upon such things. Now, the trading of lives is done within the courts of noble houses. Not unusual. Not unusual for a higher noble to suddenly drop dead at a feast. A guest poisoned, however could we have known? Tale as old as I've been around.
It's still very common here in Shadowha. The striking down of nobility, new nobles, old nobles. Doesn't matter. All in the name of a better Shadowha. I just try to help those who want to stay out of the way.
It's a noble cause. Given your nature, I don't. If you'll pardon my presumptions.
Truly a rarity.
Fully.
My accent may be silly.
Not at all. It reminds me of the old tongue. My mentor used to speak of old poetry in such a tone. Tui de roi de desewaner, feden fusin te want to voir.
What does it mean?
Strong foundation, strong house.
Without a strong foundation, a house cannot be built. it would fall away into the snow here.
As many already have, I have no doubt.
Plenty. Plenty farther north have all succumbed to the snow.
I'm to get 2 vessels in trade, along with coin, taster, and the promise of business elsewhere. And that would be a lie if I had no intention on returning. But you, Miss Quam, give me hope that there is a reason to return. I suppose I may have to end up seeking out the merchants of the Stormcrows. Perhaps instrumentation of some sort.
Well, Mr. Quark is very instrumental in getting people who don't want to be here out. That's why I went to rescue him.
Then
With,
we will
little good I did. All I did is make Mercury aware. Kind of messed that one up myself.
The
We're all
deed
done.
is not yet finished.
We're all finished. Here, at least. And she takes some bandages that she had set aside and starts putting pressure on the wound. And then starts to wrap the wound in a the bandage, keeping a kind of a thick sort of canvas sort of piece underneath it to absorb any blood that does continue. Well, hopefully your 2 vials, and she goes and sticks them corked and kind of sealed as much as she can into the little black bag, and kind of ties a knot. They should stay fresh for a day in these bottles. Longer if they stay in the bag.
I have no intention of having them leave the bag. Still, I'm very grateful. She gets up and
Careful.
looks.
She helps you up so that you're not... You might get a little dizzy.
Yeah, a little bit, I imagine. But eventually, walking towards the door, I stop. Look at the little needle that's been pulled out, and she drags her pinky finger along a little bit of it. Don't say you're not curious. I'm sure you'd do the same the moment I left the room.
Curious. However, I do not drink from vessels I do not get consent from.
Yeah. It's considered ill manner where I come from to leave leftovers, she says as she just walks out, closing the door behind her.
Leaving Miss Crumb in her room to clean up. Which I believe would conclude any interactions that you wanted to have for this day. So we're going to let you all, as characters, have a long rest, and also, as players, take a quick break. So when we come back, we will have a new morning in the winter of the country of Shadowhar. Cold and frighteningly, well, full of bad things. So,
Welcome to Canada.
we'll be right back, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Rebirth D&D Tale, our 79th episode. Where we had left off, the Lucky Sevens were resting once again in the tavern that Miss Crumb had set up in the capital city of the Shadowheart Empire. Well, either the starts of the new empire or the resurrection of the old. Either way, the name of the city is rather under dispute, as well as sections of the city have gone to war with each other. To avoid such a thing, there have been a number of people who've been wanting to get smuggled out, and so the kind dwarf of a man, Matthew Clark of Elartzoa, has been doing his best to get those who want out, and maybe helping those who want in. But definitely is helping to get his companion, Alexander, and the Lucky Sevens out of the Shadowheart capital city. A new morning rises this day. Very cold winter day in the Shadowheart tundra. Things have been gotten together to set out. But there's one stop that Alira has decided she needs to make, and that is to complete the transaction with Xerix, the tiefling vampire stall owner of assorted meats and bloods. A sort of vampire butcher, as it were, catering to the tastes of those who are vampire and those who may be fiend. Looking to make a little bit of coin here and there where he can. So, you all wake, having gotten your full rest. Breakfast has been served, and you are ready to set out.
Heading towards the stall, if there's nobody else wanting to end up jumping in, I am followed by... I'd probably invite Arya along with me again, and quite possibly the big one, as, just in case things go south.
So Lagon and Arya have been invited to go along with Alira.
Yep.
Vanya, what are you doing in the meantime?
I'm going to stay with our two new friends and keep watch over them.
Alright, keeping watch over Matthew and Alexander, as both of them seem to be relatively, well, maybe powerful in terms of money and political status, but they are probably just as squishy as every other peasant out there.
Yep.
So you're keeping an eye on them, while the others are making their way towards Xerix's stall. And it is pretty much just a stall with various meats, sausages, full sort of leg quarters of various beasts and maybe even humanoids, kind of hanging from different hooks in the, just kind of around him, framing him almost as the man who has what you need. His sort of pale red, in a way, complexion does make him look a little bit gaunt, but he seems otherwise a bit hardy. He seems like a man who could stand on his own if he needed to. And no doubt he has friends in low circles too.
To be expected.
He kind of spreads his arms wide, seeing you approaching, Alira. My friend. How are you
Good
this
to see you.
fine morning?
Good to see you again, Zarek. I look about and seeing if he has in fact brought the merchandise he has said he'd be offering.
You don't see them immediately.
Zarek, I almost feel at a loss for words. I would have expected the merchandise to be upfront and prompt.
Ah, but I did not want anyone coming by and sneaking your merchandise away from you with the promise of more coin. I didn't want to be tempted.
Well, of course
I
not.
had a deal to fulfill.
Well,
So, you did
so-
say that you would bring your accoutrement, and I have brought mine.
Well, she pulls out two satchels, one with coin and one with a taster. I'm showing you mine. Where's yours?
Come with me. He leads you towards the back of the stall.
Is it a particularly deep stall? Do I have to worry about
It's
this
almost
being like
like
an
a-
indoor?
It's almost like half the
Or-
size of a regular storefront. So he's got the
Madame.
stall kind of out front, but he's got the like a storage in the back.
He gestures for the other two to come along.
Lagan will fall in behind, slightly to the left.
As will Aria. To the right.
And he opens up the storage room door, and what you see is a couple of individuals who are a couple of women, human women, who have been shackled and placed in what looks like crates. You can kind of see that they're kind of peering through with the little holes that are there.
I end up handing the two bags to Arya. Look to Lagan and shoot him a look. Whatever you see, don't react. That kind of look. She starts to end up walking forward. And double checking, I don't see anybody else here or any hiding spots, anything that might present a potential ambush.
Not so far as you can see.
Very well. I walk to the merchandise, says we're going to end up doing, and take a look at these two. Now, these two are in form of crate, you said?
Yes. Yes, there's like little, like, they're in shipping crates like you would live beasts. Presumably with food in them, but you're not sure.
See here. I'm inspecting their health. Doing so with the kind of distance you would end up doing, say you were checking a horse or something along those lines. Looking for sores as the meat started to spoil and a risk of infection. You know, the kind of thing you would expect for... well, I don't expect them to be living well. This is more in the vein of, is he selling me bad stock to dump off something that's going to die on me during the trip, right?
No, when you inspect them, aside from some maybe some soreness on their wrist from the shackles that are on them, and maybe a bruise here and there, they're otherwise in good health.
A little lean. You're sure that they will end up holding up to the rigors of travel?
Should.
Good.
I was having a quick order. I didn't have that much time to be scrutinous.
Well, I pay you for time. Still.
You said quickly, so I got you what I could quickly in the parameters of your order.
Well, if that is the case...
They're just mute.
Mute.
Not my doing.
I'm sure. But, taking hold, and she walks up to Arya and grabs hold of Arya grabs hold of the two, placing the coin and opening it for his inspection. Should be the agreed amount, and hoisting it back. Now, I promised you a taster.
Yes.
You acquiesced and didn't end up deciding to send me something that was gangrenous, because I'm sure that thought has crossed the mind of anybody who was trying to end up doing so.
The thought crossed my mind, but I wanted to make a new friend.
And because you decided to end up going with your better judgment, she places a vial. And then pulls out a second one. I'm hoping that'll end up satisfying your curiosity. And now I know who to come for when dealing with wares and requiring further shipment. Might even have to end up bringing my airship by at that point.
Plenty of airships go in and out of the city.
Yes. Making it for easier travel, no doubt.
Yes.
But right now, I have to end up getting ready for port. She does a quick finger gesture to Lagon to get the crates ready to be moved.
He'll walk over to the crates.
And the girls inside are just absolutely scared.
He'll bend down. Open the crate. And just open both crates and gesture for them to come out. And because I think we're not wanting to advertise what they are, we have a couple of old robes that we can put around them.
Discretion is the better part in travel, especially in their wares as such. I'm sure you can appreciate.
Yes, of course. How you decide to travel with them is none of my business.
No, of course not.
Tell
me. No, she shoots you a look, like, immediately. No. Like, this is one of those very, very... Don't.
Can we remove the shackles before we remove our purchases?
I don't have the key.
Ah. Well.
You're a very curious individual. Who might you be?
Me?
Yes, your name.
Nobody.
That's not a name.
It's the
Are you dealing with me or the hired help?
Your hired help has a very loud mouth. Pardon
yes.
me.
You did recommend somebody for removing of tongues. I'll have to end up getting their name as well. Disobedience is frowned upon.
Well,
So-
you'll have to talk to Lady Zariel about that one.
You can be most assured. Still, we'll end up here going discreet, and so it is best to end up here doing so quickly. However, I will end up leaving to the wonderful duty of the counting of coin and the taster of the hair samplers to your discretion.
Yes,
I am prompt and a woman of my word.
I'm sure it'll be just fine. He takes one of the vials and he uncorks it, kind of gives it a sniff. Kind of smells like you.
It should. It's of my people.
Every person has a distinct aroma on their blood.
Mm-hmm. And family does such have an exquisite taste, doesn't it?
Family. Is that how you're advertising this little sample?
I'm not advertising it at all. This was between you and I. Much like you don't tell me your distributors, I don't advertise where I end up drawing my merchandise.
Ah, indeed, but it was a curiosity. I figured I'd ask.
I appreciate the game. You surface dwellers do know how to play it well.
Surface dwellers.
Oops, did I let that out?
I knew you were exotic. I just wasn't sure what kind. Although I did ask a couple of my contacts if they'd ever seen an individual quite like yourself, and you are unique to this region.
I did say I traveled from afar.
Yes.
But I think we are done here, are we not? Unless you're trying to end up dazzling me with your words, in which case that might end up costing you coin.
Will I ever see you again, my exotic beauty?
More than likely. I have a lot of wares to end up getting through. And it's best to end up having good friends in far places.
Then I look forward to it. What was your name again?
Alira. From across the sea.
Alira from across the sea. I shall savor this for a nice treat.
Please do. She ends up looking to Lagon and Arya that it's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go!
Lagan will lead the two that he's placed robes around and escort them.
And we get out without issue, hopefully. She just looks to Lagon. I understand your warm heart and wishing to end up trying to end up making their situation more comfortable at the very least. I cannot fault you for that. In fact, I admire it. But the time and place is important. To end up speaking freely in your master's stead is to end up showing a loss of control over the situation. We can be grateful that he has more of an eye for coin, making him blind elsewhere. However, are they all right in your estimation?
Medicine check.
Medicine check.
Okay.
You can just roll one for both of them.
Let me make sure I got the modifier right, but I believe that's 26.
Mm,
Yeah, 13 and 13.
okay. They're missing their tongues. Carved out,
Right.
it looks like.
And Zarek said he didn't do this, so there's plenty of healing,
Oh yeah,
signs of healing.
yeah. They're several days old, possibly. Maybe even healed with a little bit of magic.
Looking at them, other than the bruises and missing tongues, chafing and abrasions from the restraints, they're hell and hardy, as far as I can tell. They could both do with a bit of healing and time. Unfortunately, their tongues are beyond my abilities to restore.
It'll come in time. And Arya, I think you would best tend to their needs. You know better than I on how to handle humans in such circumstances, I suspect.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if they even remember how to be humans. Or how it felt to be treated like them.
Well, at this point, they have to maintain the ruse of chattel. So, for whatever kindnesses you would offer, I would suggest you not do it publicly. Not until we're out of the city and on the move.
Understandable.
Otherwise, we'd consign them to greater cruelties afterwards.
Once we're out, I believe we'll be able to find someone who will be able to take them in. It sounds like our patron, as it were, has been doing this for some time. He might already have such situations and accommodations already figured out for that.
Perhaps. But their eyes still work. And there's
So
more than one way to communicate than with tongue. Most importantly is that they live.
They still have their ears too, so they can hear you. As long as you speak a tongue they know.
Thank you both.
Where are we meeting the rest of our party?
At the agreed upon location. We best not keep our benefactor waiting.
Of course not.
So, you all head back to join up together. So, to remain undetected, I'm going to need some stealth checks
Okay.
from everybody.
Oop. That's not good.
The two girls. Well, that's not good either. Okay, so the two girls both got under 10. And then our politician friends.
Would you believe me if I said nat 20?
Nice! Hell yeah. Makes up for the
No, but I'm
girls.
just hearing it's like that makes up for those two, but there's a failure, there's a fail. Oh, God. It might be the nat 20 that doesn't matter.
Oh,
I
no.
got an 18.
Okay, so Lagan got an 18. He's trumping along, but he's not bringing any attention to himself. Ari is maybe a little less delicate, but
That's an 11, my brother.
hey, I wasn't looking for anything complex.
Cool.
The big clinking metal can is actually stealthier than you.
I imagine the shackles ain't helping.
No.
The shackles may actually be helping in Alira being the guide here, because she's the one who's got the chain in her hand or something. So, Alira looks like she's the boss of this charge, where you all are headed, and you're keeping to the alleyways and things like that where you can, and keeping out of sight. Vanya and the two politicians, well, Alexander is definitely a very stealthy individual. He's having a great time of it. Matthew, not so much. He's a little more clunky.
Oh, I was not aware this was a group thing.
Yes, it was.
Can I retroactively put pass without trace on everyone?
On your two politician friends, yes, because
Yeah.
the rest of the group isn't with you yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So for Zephyr and Vanya, need some stealth checks.
Yeah. Give me a sec. Dealing with a cat.
Oh, daggy.
Yeah, 'cause dagger.
Damn it, Dagger.
Exactly.
We love him.
All right. It is 28 for Vanya.
Ooh.
And 34 for Zephyr.
Nice. Well, you guys get to your destination without any hiccups. The use of cloaks and other such things, as well as the pass without trace, definitely help in this matter, as anyone who may catch their eye on you doesn't have their eye on you for very often, or for very long, as something else may have caught their interest. So you get to the meetup point where you can set off to cross the river to the village. Across the way. Now the river is frozen over, so there's no need to really to really use boats. There are boats that have been kind of locked into ice here at the moment, but nothing that's large like some of the airships that you've seen flying overhead. You start to walk across the ice. Since it is more difficult terrain, this is probably going to be the point where I'm going to ask for some acrobatics checks, because you're trying to keep steady on very slippery footing.
That's an 11.
Hmm.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay.
8 plus 3.
I am double checking something for a moment.
Okay.
Considering, Ranger.
Considering Ranger, yes.
I get to ignore difficult terrain.
In your favorite locations or at all?
And going by the revised rules you gave me, at all.
Oh.
And in addition, you're skilled at navigating the wilderness. You gain the following benefits when traveling for an hour or more. Difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel.
No. Hot damn. Well, the benefits of having a ranger on your team.
Who knew?
Okay.
Who knew? And considering we've traveled in snow before, by what you had told me before, by now she'd be used to it.
Okay. So, not really being slowed down or hampered or anything like that by difficult terrain. It's just a matter of keeping it out of sight. And you've kept well enough out of sight so far. So, a couple of hours across the river, and you make your way towards the little village that you see. It also has boats and docks and things like that. It has some carved out holes in the ice for ice fishing for some of the locals.
Ice fishing.
And some other. You see a wide variety of different kinds of kind of stone houses. Not a whole lot of wood houses around here at the moment. A lot of stone structures. You see again more smokestacks like the city. From what you can tell of the people there, it's primarily tiefling and some humans. Smattering of others, but primarily that. And the girls that you've been traveling with seem to be more comfortable here. Like maybe this was their home that they got snatched away from.
Well, good to know we're all back together. Copy looks like he's preparing for something.
Oh no. I was just trying to give this village a name because I don't have one for it yet.
We have no way of really asking them their names. They can't speak.
Are you kidding me? Do you know who you're talking to?
I can talk to them with sending, but beyond that, I have no other means of communication with them.
Oh, is that all? I can fix that. What do you need, an hour?
Or
All right. Well, if that's the case.
No, he asked for what?
Oh, okay. Well, if you're wanting to speak with them. I know I do, but if you want in on the conversation, we can do that.
of course, I would like to speak with them.
And at that point, I am going to pull out a couple of pieces of eggshell. One from a bit of breakfast from here, and another from, well, it's probably best you don't ask. And at that point, she places them between her fingers, cracks them out, cracks them and grinds them down as they start to mix with the spores that start to end up emanating from her body, and flicks them up in the air. Telepathic bond.
Oh, telepathic bond it is. Is that a single target or multiple?
Forge telepathic link with up to 8 willing creatures of your choice in range.
Ah, so you can link yourself, you can link Lagan, you can link the 2 girls, you can link anybody you like. So who are you targeting for the 8 creatures?
those two, Lagon, myself, yeah, Arya, yeah, Vanya. Let's add let's add our.
Causing
hold
Kurobe?
on. No. Just double check on the count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our 2 diplomats.
Okay. You have a telepathic bond. So you can speak telepathically to each other, I believe. As a result of the spell.
Now, whatever you do, don't end up forcing a panic. We're still trying to end up ascertaining where we're going, but we are getting out. What are your names? She says as she is an echoing, ethereal voice in their head. But she looks at them, making sure that they're aware that this is indeed her speaking.
Anya
Anya.
and Tasha.
Anya, Tasha. We're aware that you ended up coming from a very bad set of circumstances. We are going to end up excavating you along with the 2 nobles to end up getting out of country. They are funding your release in the hopes of getting knowledge of whatever you can offer. After that, well, I suppose that will be your choice. But for now, you must end up continuing to end up playing the role of the cattle.
I'm hungry. Me too.
And with that, I will. Now we're outside of town at this point. Still, like we're
Yeah,
there. We're not in the middle of.
You're towards the village. You're not maybe in the village just yet. You can be there if you want.
Hearing they're hungry, Lagon would reach into his bag and pull out some rations for each of them that are already prepared.
Ought to end up having them swallow without tongues. Be careful. Don't need them choking.
I am aware, but they can still chew. It just takes longer. But that is why I will be with them the entire time.
You'll be taking us out of
this area.
out of Shadowhar?
If that's what you want.
It's hard to know. It's been 5 days. Five days since it took us from here. And now we can't sing anymore.
You can't sing. You were
barmaids. But we could sing. It made the people happy.
And is that what you wish to do?
Can't anymore.
That's not what I asked. Is that what you wish to do?
You hear Tasha's voice. I love singing. I love music. I want to go to Bard College one day. Not like I'd ever be able to afford it, but it's a dream. There are no Bard colleges in Shadowhar.
Well, Lucky for you, I know a minstrel here extraordinaire, and was to be wed to a man whose family creates such magical instruments. She shoots a look to her, Vanya.
Oh,
My family makes a lot of instruments I can teach you how to play. It won't replace singing by any means, but it'll still allow you to have your music.
She wants to go to Bard College. Should we tell her about strings?
strings.
A
String.
wonderful friend of ours.
So many voices at once.
Still practicing.
Still don't
Stray
understand how
thoughts.
this is possible.
With magic, all things are possible. Not necessarily probable, but possible.
These two nobles will end up asking a lot of questions throughout this journey. Answer them as truthfully as you can. They need the information to know what they're going to be dealing with. As for you two,
They were going to chop us to pieces.
yes. And now, you have an opportunity.
They were going to feed us to devils.
I have a fate far worse for you in mind. Having to play the stringed instruments while the patrons they sing badly to whatever tune you play. I'm assured that it is a private hell unto its own regard.
I would take that over anything.
Then you have something to look forward to it. You have something to look forward to. And besides that, the individual who sold you, he is not the man who cut out your tongues.
No.
Is he to be believed?
No, I heard. It was another devil. Wings like black tar. Terrifying. Said that I was to be present to Lady Zariel. Her plaything. Until Xerix came and bought us, which... That devil wasn't happy, but he accepted the coin.
Strangely enough, you owe that vampire your life. Hard to think of it in such terms, but it's no less true. You two will be cared for. We'll get as far as we can. See if we can't remove those shackles, or at the very least, make you more comfortable. My name is Alira. She starts to introduce Vanya, Arya, Lagan, Kaz. She ends up smiling a bit as she ends up introducing Kurobe. And the two gentlemen they're currently accompanying. I'm sure with whatever time's left, the nobles will end up asking whatever questions they can to get as detailed of a
situation. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure that the information is well worth it, especially given the idea of whose stock and the chain that these two had to end up going through, where they were picked up, what transpired there, the kind of things you'd want to know if you wanted to know what was coming.
And they'll go over that as much as they can. And what you find out as well, being linked to them, is that this devil that they get a distinct image in their head, and you can kind of read that image of a figure that has kind of the shape of a tiefling, has horns, has ears that are pointed, has a lithe body, very tall, a long sort of spade tail, but has, again, the sort of blackish wings, has fire for eyes and hair, and they don't really have a name for this person, because this person never shares their name. This devil never shares their name.
Disappointing, but not to be unexpected.
But another image that kind of comes up in their descriptions is that this Lady Zariel is at war with another devil. So, there's even infighting between the devils, it seems.
Odd. Even the devils fight amongst themselves for power or territory.
One of them said something about going home. But where could home possibly be? Must be some kind of hell.
Yeah. You're in good hands. As soon as I am able, I will do what I can to help your healing. By the way, who healed you before? Both of your tongues look more healed than just 5 days.
The devil did it to torture us. Heal us and then beat us again. Heal us and beat us again. Calling on some kind of dark magic.
I apologize for making you relive those tortures, but I
It was
needed
horrible.
more. And I will do my best to ensure that you are as hale and hearty as possible.
What about our families? Will they be able to leave?
They always have that choice. Currently, our present circumstance, as you look around, is just the 6, 8, 10 of us, well, 11 of us, including Sapphire, are making this journey.
Alright. So you're moving on from the village and making your way towards the entrance of the mines?
That is the case.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and call it there, where you're spending a little bit of time in the village, but end the session there, and we'll continue travel from there to the next city, which has the lightning rail station, as well as the entrance to the mines that lead to Denali's. Hey!
Yay!
Oh,
Woohoo!
yeah.
You're welcome. You guys. You enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good job, crew.
Good
Yes.
job. Spectre sounds so EP.
Yeah.
Spectre is EP.
Yay, I didn't fuck
Okay.
it up.
Well, you made some new friends. Yay!
Yes.
In the form of some politicians from Melartua and Islandia.
Yeah.
Hope that was fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My brain's in the awkward moment, realizing what the fuck I just ended up doing.
I'm ecstatic, and I love the throwback to the original with this tie-in.
Oh, yeah.
That
Mhm.
it,
I
And
like
I- and
doing
I-
little tie-ins like that.
Yeah.
and I hate to say it or even think it, but if he screws us over, I'm gonna kill him. I'm sorry, lethality.
Yes. I threw that in there because I like callbacks and I'm cool like that.
I loved it, and that was not anything like what I expected. So
Well, I'm glad. In a good way, yes.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, good. Because he may yet still have a role to play in things. We'll find
Yeah,
out.
that's what I was afraid of.
Poppy, I'm not sure if you can do anything with those two, but worst case scenario, well, I got long-term plans. I always have long-term plans.
Anya and Tasha.
We can always use extra crew on the ship.
Could.
Mm.
Could.
I don't know when we'll see our ship again. But,
When you get back to Colcaster,
Yeah.
it might be under repossession for a moment until you pay off your parking bill. because it's parked there longer than it should have been. But
Yeah,
What?
Emerald and
well,
what's his face?
Emerald has a thing
Well,
that's
Yeah.
going on too. So we'll find
Emerald
out.
has his own thing, but what's his face can't crew the ship by himself, and he's the only one there.
Yeah, he's good. He's not that good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's
a
okay.
baby.
We'll just make Cypher wait and then come Uber us back.
No, we're gonna have to Uber to him to pay the bill to get our ship back.
Yeah.
That's okay. We've got money, and we're apparently getting more.
It's basically been towed to the Coldcaster, like equivalent of like
Impound lot.
impound. Yeah.
Oh God, she's kneading into my chin. No,
Oh,
Baby.
baby.
she's become behold my new beard.
Such a good baby.
I gotta say that one looks more magnificent than mine, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she is just purring away and kneading to the side of my face and shoulder.
Yep. Good
Just
baby.
like, yeah, I
Sweet
like this.
baby.
Well, since it is the end of the session, it is time to dish out some experience to my good players. So, you got your 5 for coming to session. Good job.
Woo!
Yay.
Participation.
Woo!
Yay.
And I think you're gonna get another 5 for the friends you made along the way.
Oh,
Yay.
nice.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Some rather important friends, I think.
I believe so. I'm hoping.
Because you've got the mining brigade's president from the Larswa, and you have the minister of commerce from Islandia. So,
Yeah, I'm thinking those are very important friends. I'm really
Well, they
hoping I
will
don't
be.
have to kill any of them.
They will be.
but now we get to talk about roleplay prompts. This is a pretty
Oh.
roleplay heavy game today. So, we're going to talk about who pushed our plot, who had the best scene, and who had our best line tonight. And then, of course, there's the audience experience poll, which is almost already over. God damn.
Oh,
That started real early.
Yeah, I popped it early. Why not?
Yeah. Well, and it's... Do you only put it on for like 2 minutes or something? Because that's really short.
No, I put up for 5.
Oh.
Wolf told me 5, and that's what it's been at.
5 it is. All right. Well, Lyra, we got
Lyra.
you as the audience's favorite tonight.
Hey!
Rosewolf had a lot to do with that. Thanks, Rosewolf, for spending points.
Aww.
But let's talk about our roleplay prompts. So, who pushed our plot today?
I'm throwing my hat in for the whole, why don't we just escort them back?
Yep, I'll agree with that.
I'll agree.
Agreeable. It's unanimous.
I'm not greedy.
All right. There we have it. There's that one. For Vanya. Best scene.
I'm gonna vote for Alira. There's a couple. The scene with Alira and Serix, trying to get this set up, and then the scene for Alira and Crumb getting her samples.
Yeah, I agree with that. Alira.
Aw. What do you think, Spectre?
Alira.
Okay.
Yeah,
There it
I'm
is.
not arguing with the crowd.
Our best line.
It has to end up going into has to go Lagon because
like the whole thing. Don't speak. No, don't do it. Don't do it. No, I legitimately, I thought we were fucked the second he opened his mouth. Like, it's like, it's going too well. He's going to say it. He's going to say something. He's going to be indignant. He's going to end up off the rails, and we are going to be fighting in a fucking market stall.
He looked at you and asked if we could remove freaking chains.
And that's the line that made Lyra go like, oh no, oh no 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 no, don't say anything, just stop right there, stop.
I agree with this one. This is good.
Yeah. Like, no. It makes for great roleplay prompts, but terrible for negotiations when you're trying to be a cruel traitor.
Good job,
Thank
Lacan.
God I chose lawful neutral.
Good job, Lacan. You got that one.
Thank you.
We've dictated already the audience's favorite, which was Alira, which means we can conclude for the night. So,
Hey.
thank you all so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for being around for all of this. Maddie with renewing his sub. We had a level 1 hype
Maddie.
train earlier today.
Nice.
At the very start of the show, because everybody was renewing their subs. So, definitely appreciate all the subscriptions and follows and things like that y'all do, because this, I mean, I do this for me. You guys wanting to throw money at me is like, okay, cool. Help me do more of this, I guess. But it's much appreciated, and definitely should check out VODs on YouTube, because that's where I post all of the recordings. So if you missed something, you can go back and check all of that out. And of course, join Discord and stuff like that. I post the announcements for the show for when we go live on Discord, so you could always check on that. Be active, do stuff in the Discord, because I don't know what to do. I'm just a content creator. I don't know how to manage a Discord. I don't know how to make a Discord active. So, do all of that stuff. So, but let's find somebody to raid, and hopefully there's somebody to raid tonight. And until we see you all again next time, which would be Wednesday, I believe, for more of Blood and Iron, the last few episodes, and then more more Rebirth when I get back from a vacation, because I'm going on a vacation this weekend. So, yeah. So, see you all next time. Say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.